Morning, everyone. My name is Dennis Baikal, and today we'll be reporting on the analysis of millennial workforce preferences. So the purpose of this report is to address and explain first and secondary research. We'll be evaluating qualities in the workplace best suited for the millennial workforce. Ultimately, we'll be giving conclusions of the millennials' preferred work conditions, and we'll be recommending Jamie, our new techniques for employee retention when hiring. Our team consists of myself and Andrea Hertz, who will be giving us our primary research, Trent Walker, who will be giving our secondary research, Jackson Granger, who will be giving our findings, and ultimately James Sneed, our team leader, who will be giving our recommendations. Our client's name is Jamie Gardner. She's the Group Talent Acquisitions Manager in the Human Resource Department at Enterprise Holdings. And the reason for today's report is because Enterprise expects an annual growth of 10%. That's a pretty large sum, and with the newest workforce being the millennials, it's important to find this generation's values, their motivations, and their priorities differences compared to other generations, and as well as their similarities. So our mission and goal is obviously to seek new workers by finding the variables that increase hire rates and retention of current workers. And we'll ultimately be using this data to help Jamie tailor Enterprise's job programs to better suit the millennial workforce. Pass it on to Andrea.
I'm Andrea. I'm going to talk a little bit about primary research and data collection. We decided to give out a total of 400 surveys, but we gave out 400 surveys. We were planning to give out 400 surveys to CNEDs and UT students, and we did it through Facebook and manually in classrooms and such. In total, we distributed 1,819, but we only got 145 back that were actually completed, and which gave us a 92% confidence level. Our questions included 2 ranking questions, 1 yes or no question, and 6 multiple choice questions. And the ranking questions and the multiple choice questions were based on level of importance. The multiple choice questions included very important, important, not important, and somewhat important. A little bit more about the multiple choice questions that we asked. We decided to ask questions about extensive training, like whether or not if a company offers extensive training, is that going to affect their decision to work at a company. Promotions, whether or not there's room to grow or move up. Social responsibility, if a company is aware of their social impact and contributes their wealth to society through charities or foundations. If they have a less conservative approach or cool reputation, for example, if they don't allow tattoos, or if they allow piercings, or if you have to dress like professionally all the time. Age. Whether or not millennials would prefer to work with people their own age or people older, or and also we asked questions of how they feel about working in an industry that they're passionate about. The ranking questions, we decided to format it based on importance also. So we kind of listed a bunch of different things, and they had to rate it from 5 being the most important and 1 being the least important. And we mentioned monetary benefits. This could include like retirement, if a company offers retirement plans, overtime benefits, bonuses, stock options, paid vacations, starting salary, which is if that salary is high enough for them to even work there in the first place. Health benefits, such as insurance, community benefits, so if they have a gym or childcare services or events, vacation time, whether or not an employer gives holidays off, or if it's just very busy. The size of the company, if it's too small or too big, would this be someone's, like, would this be the reason why someone would want to leave? Past employee reviews, like what other people are saying about the company. Coworker relationships, whether they want to work with, like, whether they want to be team oriented, is it tight knit, are people friendly in the work environment, and workspace. Workspace, is it a cubicle or open space, and I guess team-oriented environment. I guess that goes with coworker relationships. What our data revealed was that the millennials tend to focus more on health and monetary benefits when deciding on staying at a company or working for a company. They also find that past employee reviews are really important in determining if they want to work at a company. The size of the company is really important, and also they're passionate about the field that they're working in. And also the conservativeness of a company does not play a major role in whether or not they want to work for a company. So I'm going to pass it off to Trent for the secondary research.
So in addition to our primary research of a survey, we decided to do some secondary research, and we wanted to use the internet for this. Because millennials are the people that companies are hiring right now, there's actually quite a bit of research out there. So I was able to find a lot, in a lot of legitimate articles on websites like Forbes and USA Today. So some of the things that I found out, in USA Today they talked about different influences that millennials have when they're growing up. And because of like the war going on in the Middle East while we're growing up, and our connection with the internet, whether it be through the news or social networking, we have a greater global perspective. And when we're looking for a company, when millennials are looking for a company, they really want a global opportunity and a global perspective in that company. So that's really important to them. Also in Forbes, they talked about how things other than the salary are important, and a millennial is not necessarily going to go for a job just because it pays slightly more than another one. They're also focused on the sustainability that a company can provide to their community and their world, because we grew up in the Green Revolution, you know, and we learned about global warming and all that as we were growing up. So that became really important to us, and that's a perspective that millennials have. And when they look at a company, they want that company to keep that in mind when they're growing and when they're working there. So those are some of the things that we learned. There's another Forbes article that talked about how salary is still the most important thing to millennials. So the research kind of varies, but overall you can kind of take from that salary is probably just as important, but there are definitely other factors that other generations don't have that millennials are going to look at when they're looking at a new job. So the secondary research, coupled with primary research, tell us a lot about millennials, and I'm going to pass it off to Jackson so that you can tell us what you found out.
Hi there, my name is Jackson, and I was in charge of findings and conclusions. With the information that we collected from our data, we found out that millennials do have a unique perspective that causes concern for sustainability and causes them to want to adapt to a modern workplace. The second thing that we found out was what they do want health benefits. It's a very hot topic, cited from benefitspro.com, as well as the want for sustainability is still happening. For third, we found that the view of social responsibility is very important. They want to feel a part of the team. They want to feel like they're contributing to the greater good as well. For the size of the company, they really think that this is important, as well as previous employee review, especially if they had maybe talked to someone else and they had a really bad review about the company. Then some more findings and conclusions. A more conservative company does not have an effect on their sustainability, or it does not have an effect on their decision. With the want for more sustainability, this conservativeness does not really come in as a factor. Something else that we found out is that millennials feel that it's important. Their employer is very respectful. They like for them to be on a kind of one-on-one basis and feel like they're on the same kind of level as their employer. We also found that they prefer to work with people their own age. This is along the same lines as feeling like they have a one-on-one with their employer. And lastly, we found that they do seek promotion. They really, really want to be able to move up in their company. And they feel that this, with their passion, can really help them out with their career. And now I'm going to pass it off to James for recommendations.
All right, my name is James Sneed, and I'm going to be covering the recommendations we've come to through our secondary research and then, of course, through the primary research we've done. First off, with recognition and reward, the big thing on that is just weekly feedback. That's basically the recommendation here. The millennials are very used to getting feedback constantly, especially those coming out of university. They've been getting feedback on a weekly basis. Maintaining that can really be beneficial both to the employee as well as the employer, as far as that the employee can receive critique and compliments, and they can pivot and change their mode of attack on how they handle the job, and the employer can then constantly be giving feedback to hone in their employee's skill. It also gives the employee a chance to get praise every single week if they're that good. They can get a hug and a lollipop, or they can be kind of critiqued or be treated a little harshly on some of their behavior. But of course, that next week opens it up for them to be praised again if they do well following that. Room to grow. Now, that's an obvious one. Everyone likes to be promoted. Everyone likes to be moved up. This is a big one here. That millennials coming out, especially now, they're looking for the career. They're looking for the long-term investment, if you will, in a job. So room to grow is extremely important. And I know that all this growth that you guys have now, enterprise, you guys have a position to move. But they, when the millennial gets hired on, they're going to be looking for internal hiring. And so the mode to communicate, these internal jobs that are available is very, very important. The easiest and basically most effective one that we kind of came up with was just simple email account, sending all of them out to all the job positions that are available within the company out to all the employees, and that's all of them. So we think it would be good to have an executive job description, maybe a higher up. If there's an opening there, send out to every employee, so that the start folks at the beginning of the chain here, they can see what it takes to become a manager or higher up in the position. They can see, well, I'm here and here and here are my achievements. If I achieve this, if I get this reward, this certification, that's all I need to now move up to this new position, and they have that capability. So that communication is going to be absolutely crucial. And I'm not sure if enterprises use Salesforce.com or some other CRM packages, but those provide a lot of mode for communication on, and it opens up for discussion as well, where the email account really wouldn't allow for discussion on the job position and the availability of the jobs. Move into passion in the position. Of course, passionate employees are the best employees. That passion of theirs doesn't just fall off when they walk through the door. So to really get those passionate employees is the hardest part, and Jamie, you're no stranger to that, I'm sure. So, looking into the employee's past is absolutely paramount in checking on where do they excel in the past, what accommodations do they receive, why they receive promotions, and lining those up down the list will kind of give you, well, what's this employee passionate about? And then you can compare that to the job description, what requirements the job's going to meet, really kind of see, well, is this that passion that's going to be lived there when they're in this position? Are we setting them up to excel, essentially? So looking into the past, really examining that. And then finally, here's making a difference. That's a very important one. This entire generation has seen the other side of the world through some form, whether it's online through pictures or they traveled there. You know, we've seen the entire Earth, you know, from a picture of outer space. We've seen the whole Earth as it's supposed to be seen without any boundaries, and globalization is a major movement, and saving the Earth is a major one. We all want to be the guy to save the world here. We want to protect as much as we can for the future generations. That's a big motive with the millennials, and you can take advantage of that. Maybe that's not the right way to put it, take advantage of, but you know, advertise that, well, here's the difference the enterprise is making. For example, we're putting in electric cars now. We're implementing those. We're trying to reduce carbon footprint. We're going green. We're recycling more. We're going paperless. Things like that make more of a difference than I think you'd imagine they would. Additionally, I know you have Enterprise Holding Foundation, which is very interesting. I've never heard anything quite like it. And for the audience members who don't know what that is, it's a program where the spouses or the employees of Enterprise get the opportunity to open up their own nonprofit. Enterprise can help fund it, essentially. And that's a phenomenal program. That's something you should definitely advertise to new candidates. It will also contribute to room to grow. Now you have room to grow. If you want to make a difference outside of the workplace, you have the opportunity. If you have a spouse who wants to make a difference, they might have the opportunity as well. So you can grow outside the company as well as inside the company. And to bring us here to a close, you know, Dennis led us, oh, he's back there, into this presentation here, and Andrea talked about the primary information we got, all the surveys passed out, all that pain. And then Trent here discussed the secondary research, not so painful part, but very interesting part. There was a massive amount of research you can find online, and then Jackson did the honor of leading me in, which is his greatest contribution. That's a joke. He did the conclusions. He summed up really what we found in a nutshell. You know, and again, now I did the recommendations. Again, those recommendations really comes down to four things. Passion, you know, right employee, right position. Fulfillment, getting them to make the difference, getting the millennial to feel fulfilled that, hey, you know what, I'm at this company who's really trying to make a difference. I'm with this organization who's helping me personally make a difference. You know, in promotions, room to grow, very, very important. The millennial doesn't want to enter the workforce and see a ceiling right away. That's not what we're looking for. And finally, the recognition, and that would be the weekly feedback loop that gives the employee the chance to capitalize or take advantage of the fact that the Addy University millennial is very used to getting critiqued all the time. Skin's still thick. They're not so sensitive to the critique, and it gives them the opportunity to see where are my strengths, and more importantly, where are the weaknesses. And so with that, I'd like to thank you guys very, very much. Jamie especially, thank you for the opportunity. I hope what we've showed today is some things you can take away. And thank you guys for listening. Are there any questions?